Carolina has just eked away with a 3-point win over Kentucky tonight. And if we're being honest, it was a tough watch. But to be fair, I think Hubert deserves credit for going away from Evans tonight, playing Derek Dixon. That 3-point he made was huge. It was a terrible shot. It was a terrible play out of the ATO that just didn't work. But sometimes you just need to get a little bit lucky, and they did tonight. And then he came back and played off the pick and roll and got another big bucket. You've got to give Hubert credit for doing that. That was extremely gutsy to make that pull and make that play. And to be fair, it was something that needed to happen. Evan's body language was horrible tonight. He didn't play well. And it wasn't that Dixon was any that much better prior to that 5-point flurry. But again, it was just the body language. It was what Derek Dixon was able to provide. Evans 2 points tonight, 1 of 5, 0 of 2 from the 3-point line, 3 fouls. Dixon got up to 9 points, 5 points, obviously, in that last minute. So credit to Hubert for doing that. That was a big deal. But again, the head scratching with this team is that it's so clear and evident. Vessaarr and Wilson are your best players. The just decision making to not get them the basketball at certain times, which is part guard play, but also part Hubert. Some of those threes that they started shooting and they were running set plays for, even in the final 6 to 5 minutes, you're just like, why don't you continuously go back to they put Henri and Caleb at the elbows, running them off their own pick and roll together, and ended up in a dunk. But then the next 3 possessions, they settle for 3-pointers again. And it's just, it's head scratching. It's frustrating. It's, as a fan, you've got to just be like, what are you guys doing? And truth be told, that Kentucky team tonight was a tough watch. What tonight felt like was, you go back to a high school reunion 20 years after graduation, and you think you're going to run into the 2 girls that were the prettiest girls in school, and they're still dressed in the finest stuff, and you think they're going to look good. And then you get up close and you're like, why was I so crazy about these 2 in the past? And that's what this felt like tonight with Kentucky and Carolina. It was 2 bad teams dressed up in blue blood uniforms. And it was so difficult to watch. I mean, there's a ton of things that we could go off that were bad. Luka is a traffic cone on defense. He can't guard anybody. Vessaarr and Wilson are clearly the best 2 players. Zayden High actually did okay tonight, so credit to him. The pass from Wilson up to him ahead for the layup was obviously needed in a game like this. And James Brown didn't play at all. So I don't understand the shooting aspect of what they're doing. And it's almost at this point like they're wanting to prove a point, or they're wanting to shoot themselves out of it. And I feel like when we watched the Michigan State game, their 3-point shots came off of transition. They came off of doubles in the paint. And the biggest thing tonight, too, that was just extremely frustrating was the lack of paint touches for Carolina. You have shooters. Like, we know that they can shoot. But if you put them in a situation where they're having to shoot off pick and rolls and they're having to shoot off the dribble, 60 to 70% of the 3-point shots they're taking at that rate, their numbers are going to be bad, and it's going to be like what it is tonight. And if Luka doesn't hit that 1 3 that he made in the corner, and then you have the Derek Dixon step back 3, it was horrible. It was horrible offensively. There's the questions I have about Carolina are still there. The frustrations you probably have as a Carolina fan are still there. And tonight you were able to get the win that you had. I mean, if Carolina had lost tonight, I think it would have been a loud alarm bells. Basically, what's going to happen in Kentucky over the next week is what was going to happen at Carolina. Whoever lost the game was going to be in a tough spot. Now, Kentucky's schedule from this point on is ridiculous. Gonzaga, Indiana, St. John's, Alabama, and SEC play. Carolina plays Georgetown, East Carolina, I think South Carolina upstate. Like, it's not the same gauntlet, right? So in essence, too, it's even more daunting because they couldn't beat this Carolina team. So why are they going to be able to beat Gonzaga and Indiana or anybody else, and so forth? But Carolina got it. They've beaten 2 blue bloods this year. On paper, it's big. I think if you look at the 2 teams, you might not feel as great about it because they're not necessarily what Kansas has been, although they have looked a little bit better, and they lost tonight to UConn. Kentucky's a complete shell of itself, but it's still better to come out on the winning side than the losing side if you're in that situation. And I think going forward, you just want to see them continuously play through Henri and Caleb and let the 3-point shots come from paint touches and sprays back out, or doubles in the paint and the bigs kick it back out. Henri can pass the ball. Like, he's a good passer. He's a good playmaker. Caleb Wilson, that one pass tonight did not look great, but I think other than that, he has shown he can be a playmaker and kick the ball ahead and find open guys in corners and wings. And when those are your 3-point shots, it's so much different than when you're trying to just rely on Evans, Dixon, Powell, and Luka coming off of screens or coming off of pick and rolls or shooting just 3-point shots off the dribble. And I mean, I put it in all caps. It just paint touches, paint touches, paint touches. I just, it was huge. And again, though, they won. Carolina won. They needed to win. They had to win. Go back to the drawing board. Georgetown is not just chalk, but you should win that game as well. And then from that point, I want to say they've got some more cupcakes. There's the Ohio State game in Atlanta at the end of December, and then they're going to get into conference play. I'm not honestly going to be surprised if you look at the Carolina schedule from this point on. I'm not going to be surprised if they end up going 20-3 the rest of the way, because the games just aren't that difficult. The 2 Duke games and the Louisville game are going to be tough. They could beat NC State. They can beat Virginia. They can beat Miami. It's scary because they got the Kansas when they got the Kentucky win. And as Carolina fans now, you need to be pulling for both of those teams to do really well in the SEC and the Big 12, because there's only 3 more opportunities for North Carolina to get wins at that level. Maybe Syracuse jumps up a bit with their win tonight over Tennessee, but Tennessee might be falling off after a couple losses. So it is, you would much rather be on Carolina's side than Kentucky side tonight. You don't have a lot of opportunities to get much bigger wins besides the Duke game and probably the Louisville game. Take what you can get. And yeah. But guys, like the video, subscribe, get in the comments. What are you guys feeling about this Carolina team? Did your questions get answered tonight? Are you unsure about the guard play? Are you unsure about the big depth? To me, everything that could go wrong basically went wrong tonight until the last minute. I mean, that is in essence what happened. Kentucky went almost 10 minutes without scoring a field goal, and then they went almost 6 minutes again without scoring a field goal, and they're without their best player, and then another one of their best guards. So, and I know Seth Trimble's out, but even then, it's just like that Kentucky team is a shell of itself. This Carolina team is nerve-wracking and really difficult to watch at the moment. I'm just glad the game is over. Like, subscribe, enter your name in the portal. I'm tired. See you guys on the next one.